Welcome, brave souls, to Midnight Whispers. Traverse this realm at your own peril. For within these tales lurk horrors most foul. Tonight's tale may twist the very fabric of your sanity. And a word to the wise, this narrative paints pictures of terror not meant for every eye or ear. Venture ahead if you dare, but remember, you have been warned.
Once upon a time, in the heart of a bustling city, I had a desk job. The hum of fluorescent lights overhead played the soundtrack to my days, which were filled with mundane tasks that seemed to drain the color out of life, bit by bit. Yet, it was a stable 9 to 5 that ensured the bills were paid, and my modest apartment remained a shelter. But life, with its unpredictable whims, decided to throw me a curveball. Following a sudden wave of layoffs that stormed through our company like a ruthless tide, I found myself stranded on the shores of unemployment. Desperation, coupled with the gnawing reality of bills piling up, led me to grasp at any semblance of a lifeline. That's how I ended up accepting a position as a groundskeeper at the long-abandoned Whispering Pines Amusement Park. It was a place that once echoed with the laughter of children and the joyous shouts of families, now veiled in an eerie silence that seemed to cling to the rusty rides and weathered stalls like a shroud. The towering Ferris wheel stood still against the sky, its silhouette a haunting reminder of forgotten joys. The first 2 days on the job were pretty uneventful. I busied myself with cleaning up the overgrown weeds that seemed to claw at the remnants of the colorful booths, making minor repairs where I could. The eerie atmosphere was unsettling, the silence of the park only broken by the creaking of old rides swaying gently in the breeze. Every shadow seemed to dance ominously across the cracked pavement, but I convinced myself it was just the remnants of a place once filled with laughter and screams of thrill echoing through the veil of time. On the third day, however, everything changed. The morning sun cast long shadows as I made my way through the park, its rays unveiling the decay that time had imparted upon the once vibrant carousel, now forsaken and shrouded in a cloak of ivy. Behind it, I discovered a weather-beaten shed. As I opened the creaking door, a gust of stale, cold air greeted me. Inside, taped to the wall, was a list of rules that seemed to have been written in haste. Never enter the Hall of Mirrors after sundown. Ignore the music from the old piano near the entrance. It plays by itself at twilight. Do not acknowledge the lady in a white dress wandering around the Ferris wheel. If you hear laughter near the bumper cars, leave the area immediately. The swings will move on their own at dawn. Do not stop them. Let them come to rest naturally. I chuckled nervously. Perhaps it was a prank from the previous groundskeeper aimed at spooking the new guy. But as the day wore on, the laughter that escaped my lips seemed to echo hauntingly through the empty park, as though the very air trembled with a sinister foreboding. As evening approached, the melancholic melody of a piano playing by itself wafted through the cold air. I found myself entranced, my feet leading me towards the old piano near the entrance. It played a tune that seemed to resonate with the silent cries of the forgotten Joyland. The keys moved with a ghostly grace, the melody curling around the rusted gates like a mournful specter. Night descended upon Whispering Pines quickly, and with it came ghastly apparitions that emerged from the shadows. The eerie faces that appeared amidst the veil of darkness seemed to mock my disbelief, their ghostly laughter chasing me as I fled through the park, my heart pounding against my ribcage like the ominous beat of death's drum. I managed to find shelter back in the weather-beaten shed where the rules were posted. I barricaded the door with a rusty old rake and sat in darkness, the sinister giggles of the unseen haunting the silence of the night. The melody of the piano continued to echo through the void, a sorrowful tune that seemed to weep for the forgotten joys that once danced through the park. As dawn broke, casting a pale gray light through the cracks of the shed, I felt a semblance of safety return. The shadows retreated with the rising sun, and the ghostly laughter faded into the recesses of the eerie silence that once again enveloped Whispering Pines. The swings came to rest naturally as the first rays of sunlight kissed the rusted chains, just as the rules had said. I made a hurried call to my boss, my voice quivering as I relayed the night's horrifying events. He scoffed, dismissing my fears as figments of my imagination, fueled by the eerie ambience of the old amusement park. He reminded me sternly of the dire need for the paycheck this job provided and how scarce job opportunities were. I was trapped in a ghastly reality, bound by the chains of financial desperation. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, I returned to my duties the next day. The sun seemed to cast longer shadows with each passing hour, as if foretelling the sinister dusk that awaited. As the evening approached, I found myself drawn towards the Hall of Mirrors before sundown, as if some unseen force beckoned me. Pushing open the creaky doors, I stepped into a world where reality seemed to twist and distort with each reflection. The hall was a maze of mirrors, each one casting a myriad of reflections that seemed to stretch into infinity. At the far end of the hall, I found another set of rules taped to a mirror. The ink looked fresh, as if it was waiting for me. Never look the clown in the eyes. He dislikes it. If you hear giggling, exit the hall immediately. Do not touch the mirrors. They might touch back. If the reflections stop mimicking you, close your eyes and count to 10 before leaving the hall. After sundown, do not, under any circumstances, enter the hall. As the eerie giggling reverberated through the Hall of Mirrors, a sudden movement in the reflection caught my eye. I froze as a grotesque clown emerged from the depths of the distorted mirrors, his twisted smile sending shivers down my spine. My heart hammered against my chest as I stumbled backward, the ghastly image of the clown leering closer with each passing second. Panic surged through my veins, urging me to flee. I turned on my heels and sprinted through the maze of mirrors, the clown's sinister laughter chasing me through the distorted reflections that seemed to mock my desperate escape. Each turn within the hall seemed to lead to another array of twisted mirrors, the clown's reflection multiplying around me, his sinister grin stretching wider across his pallid face. The reality of the hall seemed to contort with every step, the boundaries between the reflections and reality blurring into a nightmarish haze. I could hear the soft thud of his oversized shoes gaining on me as I frantically searched for the exit. My breaths came out in ragged gasps, the cold air stinging my lungs. Just when I thought the clown would snatch me into the abyss of mirrors, I spotted the exit. With every ounce of strength left in me, I lunged towards the door, crashing through it into the cold embrace of the dusk air outside. The door swung shut behind me, cutting off the sinister giggles that echoed through the haunting maze of mirrors. I stumbled backward, gasping for breath as the reality of what transpired hit me like a tidal wave. I tore off my uniform right there, the emblem of Whispering Pines seeming to sear through the fabric into my skin. I hurled it into the nearby trash bin, watching as the dark fabric swallowed the emblem that now symbolized a haunting reality I never wished to return to. No job is worth this, I whispered to myself, my voice quivering with the cold dread that gripped my heart. As I trudged away from the haunting silhouettes of Whispering Pines, the melancholy melody of the old piano played its mournful tune, resonating through the eerie stillness of the night. The haunting memories of the forgotten Joyland were now etched into the abyss of my soul, a nightmarish reality that would lurk in the shadows of my mind forevermore, of the forgotten Joyland.
And so, another tale from the depths of night concludes. But remember, dear listeners, in the realm of midnight whispers, the echoes of our stories never truly fade. If tonight's tale left you hungering for more, explore our anthology of horrors. For those brave enough, delve into our previous stories and discover what lurks in the shadows. Before you venture back into the safety of daylight, remember to like this video if it sent shivers down your spine. Subscribe and ring the bell so the whispers of the midnight hour always find their way to you. And should you dare, leave your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. We revel in knowing which parts of our tales resonate with your darkest curiosities. Until next time, keep listening to the whispers, for they have many tales